Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement's YouTube and podcast channel. Buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving deep into a topic that's on everyone's minds these days.
Oh, yeah.
Engaging Generation Z in learning and development.
Yes.
You know, those folks born after 1995,
Right.
they're already making waves in the workforce.
It's fascinating because we often talk about Gen Z as the future,
Right.
but they're very much the present.
Yeah.
They're already a quarter of the world's population.
Wow.
And in the next few years, millions more will be joining the workforce. And let's not forget the fact that 7 out of 10 leaders are concerned about how Gen Z will fit in.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin?
Um,
Who IS Gen Z when it comes to learning?
think about this. For them, a world without the internet is practically unimaginable.
Right.
They're the first true digital natives.
Yeah.
We're talking about a generation where 40% would rather have working Wi-Fi than working bathrooms.
Okay, that puts things into perspective. So it's not just about them being tech savvy. It's about technology being ingrained in every aspect of their lives.
Absolutely.
Makes you wonder how this impacts their learning styles.
Absolutely. While they value learning, just like millennials, their approach is entirely different. They've grown up with YouTube tutorials, WikiHow, instant answers at their fingertips.
Yeah.
They expect information to be available on demand, and that has huge implications for how we design learning and development programs.
Well, luckily, we've got some guidance for that. The European Association for Higher Education Advancement has a fantastic article titled, How to Get Gen Z Engaged in Your Learning and Development Program.
Yes.
Let's unpack some of their practical tips, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay.
The first one is simple but often overlooked.
Okay.
Mobile first is key.
Okay.
Think about it. Gen Z spends over 4 hours every day on their mobile devices.
Really?
It's their primary way of interacting with the world. Imagine trying to engage them with a learning program that isn't designed for their smartphones.
It's like speaking a different language, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about making your website mobile friendly. It's about designing the entire learning experience with mobile in mind.
Exactly. Think bite-sized content, interactive elements, gamification, things that are easy to consume and engaging on a smaller screen.
Yeah.
This actually ties into the next tip on demand learning.
Okay.
This generation expects information instantly.
Oh, for sure.
They're used to getting answers with a quick Google search or a YouTube video, so organizations need to adapt and think about how to make learning resources easily accessible and available at any time.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's all about adapting to Gen Z's world, not expecting them to conform to the traditional ways of learning.
Right, and another key aspect is social learning.
Okay.
You might think Gen Z is all about solo screen time,
Right.
but they actually thrive in social digital environments.
Yeah.
Think about the popularity of online forums, group chats, and even social media for learning.
So instead of isolating them in a virtual classroom, we need to leverage their natural inclination for online interaction.
Yes.
Are we talking about integrating things like Discord servers or creating online communities around learning topics?
Exactly. Think about how Gen Z uses Discord for gaming communities.
Oh, yeah.
Applying that same principle to learning can be incredibly powerful. It taps into their comfort zone and makes learning a more social and engaging experience.
Okay, this is all starting to make sense.
Okay.
It's about meeting them where they are using the tools and platforms they're already familiar with.
Yes.
What else does the article suggest?
Well, there's one more biggie that we can't ignore.
Okay.
Video is king,
Okay.
but keep it short and sweet.
Okay.
You won't believe this, but Gen Z watches an average of 68 videos per day.
Wait, 68.
68.
That's more than 2 hours of video every single day.
It's a lot.
It seems like they're practically fluent in video content.
They're visual learners and incredibly comfortable with this format. But here's the catch.
Okay.
You have to tailor your content to their preferences. Think short, snappy videos, 2 to 15 minutes max.
Yep.
Anything longer, and you risk losing their attention. It's the YouTube effect, get to the point quickly and make it engaging.
So no more hour-long lectures.
Well, it's more about adapting the format. Break down those complex topics into bite-sized chunks that are visually appealing and easy to digest.
Okay.
Think of it like creating a playlist of mini lessons instead of one long, overwhelming lecture.
It sounds like we're talking about a complete overhaul of traditional training methods. But isn't this a good thing? I mean, who wouldn't benefit from bite-sized learning and easily accessible information?
You're absolutely right. Adapting to Gen Z's learning preferences benefits everyone.
Yeah.
It pushes us to rethink how we approach learning altogether and embrace more innovative and flexible methods.
Now, this got me thinking about higher education.
Yeah.
Are universities and colleges ready for this influx of digital natives?
That's a key question, and one that the EAHEA is heavily focused on. You see, higher education has always been about preparing students for the workforce,
Right.
but the skills needed for today's world are evolving rapidly.
It's true. We're in a whirlwind of technological advancements. Automation is on the rise, and there's this growing need for soft skills like communication and critical thinking. How can traditional education keep up?
Well, those old school lecture-based models
Yes.
are becoming increasingly outdated.
Yeah.
If universities want to stay relevant, they need to incorporate more experiential learning,
Okay.
project-based assignments, and real-world opportunities to build those essential skills.
It reminds me of that saying, tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn.
Yes.
Gen Z needs that hands-on immersive experience
Yes.
because they're used to actively engaging with information, not just passively absorbing it.
Exactly. And for Gen Z, who thrives on hands-on interactive learning, traditional lectures just won't cut it. They want to actively participate, not just sit and listen.
So are we saying goodbye to lectures altogether? What's the alternative?
Not necessarily, but they need a makeover think flipped classrooms where students engage with the material online beforehand and then class time is used for discussion, problem solving, and applying concepts.
That's a great example. Flips the script and makes learning more active and collaborative.
Precisely. And it's not just about changing teaching methods, it's also about updating the content itself we need to equip students with the skills relevant to the jobs of the future.
So more coding, data analysis, and AI, is that the future?
Those are definitely important, but it's bigger than that. It's about adaptability, creativity, problem solving, and the ability to learn and unlearn quickly.
Oh, wow.
As automation takes over more routine tasks, these are the skills that will be in high demand.
It sounds like we need to encourage interdisciplinary learning collaboration across different fields and a focus on developing those essential human skills that machines simply can't replicate.
Got it. It's about preparing students not just for their first job, but for a lifetime of learning and adapting in this rapidly evolving world. And this is where understanding Gen Z becomes critical.
Because they're the ones who will be navigating this new landscape, right? So we need to tune in to their needs and adapt accordingly.
Absolutely. And there's so much we can learn from them. Their tech fluency, collaborative spirit, entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
These are all qualities that can benefit society as a whole.
It's not about us versus them. It's about learning and growing together.
Right.
And when we approach it that way, the possibilities are endless.
I love that perspective. We've talked about their learning styles, the need for mobile-first and on-demand content, the importance of social learning and video, and the vital role of technology in creating seamless learning experiences. But how do we put all this into practice?
That's the million-dollar question. It seems overwhelming, but
Right.
where do we even begin?
You're right. There's no one-size-fits-all, and every organization and institution will have to carve its own path. But
Yeah.
there are some guiding principles we can follow. It starts with a willingness to embrace change, challenge our assumptions, and experiment with new approaches. We need to be open to learning ourselves, just as we ask Gen Z to be open to learning new things.
So it's about being flexible, adaptable, and willing to step outside our comfort zones. What else is crucial for making this shift?
Collaboration is key. We need to bring together educators, tech experts, organizational leaders, and most importantly, Gen Z themselves to co-create solutions that work for everyone. Their insights are invaluable because they understand their needs and learning styles best. It's about moving away from that top-down approach and creating a more collaborative and participatory environment where everyone has a voice.
That's a great point. It's not just about imposing changes. It's about partnering with Gen Z and making them active participants in shaping their own learning experiences.
Exactly. And let's not forget about continuous improvement. We need to constantly assess what's working, what's not, and be ready to adjust our strategies based on feedback and data. The world is changing so rapidly that what works today might be obsolete. Tomorrow, we need to be adaptable and responsive to the evolving needs of our learners.
So it's about being flexible, iterative, and embracing a mindset of constant learning and improvement that's a valuable lesson for everyone, regardless of generation.
You're spot on. It's about cultivating a love of lifelong learning and a willingness to adapt and evolve. Speaking of which, you mentioned earlier the importance of higher education in preparing students for those future jobs that might not even exist yet. How do we even begin to prepare for the unknown?
It is mind-boggling, isn't it? But I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Focus on the fundamentals.
Exactly. Solid communication skills, the ability to collaborate, effectively solve problems creatively, think critically and ethically. These are the foundations for success in any field.
And those skills can be honed through a variety of experiences both inside and outside the classroom.
Precisely. Internships, volunteer work, research projects, travel, cultural immersion, these all contribute to a well-rounded education and prepare students for a world where adaptability is key. It's about broadening our definition of education and recognizing that learning happens everywhere, not just within the four walls of a classroom.
So it's about empowering students to take ownership of their learning, to be curious, explore, experiment, and find their own unique paths.
That's the spirit, and that message resonates deeply with Gen Z. They're not content with being passive recipients of knowledge. They want to be active creators, shaping their own futures.
That's inspiring. And when we empower young people to embrace their potential, we unleash a wave of innovation and creativity that can truly transform the world.
Absolutely. It's our responsibility as educators, leaders, and members of society to provide the support and resources they need to thrive.
It's about going beyond just adapting our learning programs. It's about creating a world where they can truly flourish. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have a question for you, our listener. What changes are you seeing in the world of education and work to accommodate Gen Z? What stands out to you?
It's a question worth considering because these changes are happening all around us and they're shaping the future in profound ways.
You know, one of the things that really strikes me about Gen Z is their entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh, yeah.
They're not afraid to challenge the status quo,
Right.
come up with fresh ideas, and even start their own businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. They're natural innovators and problem solvers, and this is something higher education institutions need to capitalize on.
Yeah,
We need to provide more opportunities for them to develop entrepreneurial skills,
right.
test out their ideas,
Right.
and potentially even turn their passions into real-world ventures.
So are we talking about more business incubators on campuses,
Yes.
entrepreneurship courses,
Mhm.
mentorship programs, that kind of thing?
Exactly. It's about creating an ecosystem that nurtures innovation and risk-taking, where students feel empowered to chase their dreams and make a tangible impact on the world.
It's about cultivating a culture of creativity and possibility.
Precisely. And it's important to remember that entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business.
Right.
It's a mindset. It's about approaching problems and opportunities with creativity,
Yeah.
a willingness to experiment, and a drive to make things happen.
Those skills are valuable in any field, whether you're an artist, a scientist, an educator, or, yes, an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's about being adaptable, resourceful, and resilient qualities that are essential for navigating the complexities of the 21st century.
Couldn't agree more. It seems like we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we approach education, not just for Gen Z, but for everyone.
It's about moving away from that model of passive learning and embracing a more active, engaged, and personalized approach.
Absolutely. Learning is a lifelong journey, not just something confined to a classroom. And it's about creating a world where everyone, regardless of their generation, has the opportunity to reach their full potential and contribute their unique talents and perspectives.
As we wrap up this deep dive into engaging Gen Z in learning and development, I want to leave you, our listener, with one final thought.
Okay.
We've explored some exciting ideas and strategies, but it all comes down to action.
You're absolutely right. Talking about it is just the first step.
Right.
You need to put these ideas into practice.
So what's one small step our listener can take today to start making a difference in their own sphere of influence?
Reach out to a young person in your life, a student, a niece and nephew, a neighbor, and ask them about their learning experiences.
Oh, that's good.
What excites them? What frustrates them? What do they wish was different? Sometimes the most valuable insights come from the most unexpected places.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you and our listener today. You can find the full article, How to Get Gen Z Engaged in Your Learning and Development Program, on the EAHEA website. It's full of practical tips and resources that can help you make a real difference. Please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media